Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Elizabeth. Normally we're talking about how to stay clean and sober using the spiritual laws and principles such as the law of attraction. But many of you know that I started a little kind of like a mini series that's branched off of my niche. This is regarding the IRS offset program and student loan debt. The reason that I did this was because, well, quite honestly, I had several requests that were made through comments on Brandon Weaver's YouTube channel of people just wanting me to update them on the progress of me, getting these student loans eliminated. Well then, upon the last video update, I told you guys that what had happened was, even though, we had gone through the process of asking for the original instrument of indebtedness, the assistant president or assistant vice president of SunTrust Bank wrote a letter where she stated very specifically that that they did not have the original instrument of indebtedness, and even took it a step further and said that if I wanted it, that I needed to go back to the original lenders and ask, okay? So even though we'd gone through all that process, and my attorney finally said, well, yeah, if they want to actually sue you for this money, they're going to have that instrument to come after you for the money. That's where we kind of left it. My next step was to go ahead and remove it from my credit reports. But in the United States of America, in order to even request or dispute a debt, for some reason, not only do you have to have your photo ID, which should, quite frankly, be enough. No. You have to have a utility bill or something in your name that verifies your address. Come on, you don't need to verify my address to put some shit on my credit report. But you need to verify my address to take some shit off my credit report? Come on now. Yet more loopholes, right? More loopholes, more stuff that they make you jump through, making it a little bit harder on you. Because here's the big thing, right? Is that if you have credit issues, more times than not, you're not going to be able to get a utility bill in your name or have a place in your name, right? So, and how can you ever, they make it harder for you. You're like stuck in that catch-22. Okay, so long story short-ish, I could not really go ahead and try to have that stuff removed from my credit for a while because I was in a situation where I was staying in a shelter and did not have a utility bill in my name, and it just got put on hold. So cut to now this year, I'm filing my income tax return. Now I've moved, obviously, a few times. And on this channel, I've told my story about how I moved from the state of Florida to here, to in the Carolinas, and how awesome of a move that's been for me. It's actually, helped me to maintain a higher vibration and helped me to move forward and maintain a recovery process. So it's been an awesome thing. But some of this stuff from the past still wants to creep up on you. It still wants to follow you around. And yeah, as much as I want to handle it, they have no problem using an old address to notify you of such things as garnishment of wages and a government offset program. Okay? First of all, in my opinion, there shouldn't be any offset program. I don't care if it's student loan debt. I don't care what kind of debt it is. The debt collector should have to go through the same process any of us would have to go through to collect a debt. And that would mean some sort of a judgment from a judge, right? But no, apparently this year the IRS was able to, or FIA, which is the holder of my student loans, was able to go to the IRS and say, Ms. Combs owes us some money. We want to go ahead and garnish her income tax return. And the IRS said, okay, no problem. Here you go. And FIA said, okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Come again. Bye-bye. And the IRS sent me a letter saying that FIA had taken my income tax returns without so much as a letter from a judge or any dispute on my part. And then the IRS says, oh, and if you want to talk to somebody about it, take it to them. Take it to them. Well, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm taking it to you too, IRS. Why are you giving my money away? You're supposed to be one of the most feared government agencies in the country, the IRS, for God's sakes. But these student loan holders got you in their back pocket like that? Like that? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, at any rate, that's what we're continuing to talk about today, against the stiff warnings from my attorney. In fact, they sent me this whole email with all this warning about giving advice and how I can get in trouble for seeming to try to practice law and da-da-da-da-da. But this is such an important topic, and so many of you out there need this help. There's so many of you that this is happening to, that you're going to your mailbox and instead of, and this is like that one time a year that you get ahead a little bit, right? Maybe you do something with your kids, take them to Disney World or something, right? That income tax return, boo, right? Get that new car or whatever, right? That you've been needing, right? And, but many of you are going and finding that it's just gone. It's just not there. And it can feel overwhelming and frustrating, and I know you're angry, okay? So we're gonna go at this two different ways. First of all, I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing. I'm not telling you it's what you should do. What I'm doing is I'm showing you what I'm doing as I'm doing it, and the results will be revealed. But at least you'll see what I'm doing and what I've done. And it might give you some ideas and ways that you can go about, going at it yourself. And also, if you go through this process and you see what I've done, even if it doesn't work, okay, you'll see what doesn't work. And maybe if you tweak it just a little bit, you could get some results. But at any rate, even if you don't get your money back, you can be heard, and it feels good to stand up for yourself. See, this is part of recovery too, is knowing that you have value and that you're smart and that, you have a right to stand up for yourself. I'm not saying that, we have to go to battle and it's all about win. But, even Jesus wasn't a doormat. And it's just important, and it is part of your recovery too, to know, of course, when to pick your battles, what to pick, when to let things go. And we definitely don't want to give our power away. I don't want to be laying in bed in the middle of the night thinking about this. I've already said goodbye to that money. But I've already also dealt with the fact that that money is not going to make or break me, and that money does not determine my worth and whether I'm going to get to take my daughter on a vacation or not, or whether I'm going to get the new couch I wanted or not. That money does not determine that. What determines that is me and my relationship with my Creator and my meditation practice and my gratitude and all the things that we do talk about on my channel. But I'm going to let you know what I'm doing as a step-by-step process to deal with this particular situation as well, okay? So that being said, so this is what I've done, okay? I am sending a copy of this to the Department of Treasury, which is the IRS. It's basically an appeal asking for my money back. And I'm also sending, the request to all the credit unions that the student loan debt be discharged off my credit reports immediately. And I'm also sending the appeal to FIA themselves, which, I don't expect to get much out of FIA. I mean, they sent a letter to an address that was in Florida that they knew wasn't even mine to warn me about this thing. They've continued to go through the debt collection procedures despite the fact that I had requested the original instrument of indebtedness and requested verification of proof that they own the loan. By law, they were supposed to stop any debt collection proceedings at that time until there was a satisfactory answer, but they didn't. They continued to try to collect the debt. So, it's not like they've been on the up and up at all. So I don't really expect a whole lot from them. What I expect is that if there's any chance of me getting my money back, is that the IRS is going to say, okay, well, I guess we're not going to give you her money. We oopsied. So you're not getting it, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's the freaking IRS, okay? And they do have all the power, all right? And in my letter, I do include the letter that they sent me saying that they were giving my money away. I also am including the copy of the appeal that I'm filing with FIA. I'm definitely including the letter that I got from the Assistant Vice President, Diane Evans. So I'm including the copy of the letter I got from her, where she says to obtain the promissory notes for these loans, you need to contact the original lenders at blah, 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 blah. So basically, she's saying we don't have them. And then I'm also highlighting for them the date that she sent that letter, how she continues to put that I'm such and such far days behind. I had just done a rehabilitation with AES, trying to pull my student loans out of default when they sold the debt again. Once they sold the debt again, that's when I immediately started requesting this original instrument of indebtedness. So I wasn't outstanding at the time that I began asking them for this stuff. I was trying to, and I told them, listen, if you guys will verify this debt with me, that you actually, can legally request it, I would like to go ahead at this time and set up the repayment plan. So I did try to pull them out of default. I did want to pull them out of default and rehab them and then set up a payment plan with them. I just wanted them to also verify that they could do that. Okay? So that was the only signature that they had. And then they're trying to say, well, but I signed that, so, I owe the whole debt. But no, what I signed didn't even have an amount on it. It just said I wanted to work out a repayment plan with them and rehab my debt. But I also asked them for the original instrument of indebtedness. At the same time, I asked them this. She sent me, and I'm including, the copies that she sent me that, basically it just looks like this. It's like, it's got something there. And actually, I don't think that has my social on it. This has got such, this information is so bogus. It's so old. It's like, and it's not even the original. It's like, there's no signature on it. There's no initials on it. Yeah, it has my name, it has my social, and very dark faded ink. My driver's license number, handwritten at the time, my birth date. And then something up in the top that says, legend here, okay? And with a date. But that's clearly a photocopy, and it's been copied again and again and again. It's been photocopied so many times you can't even see hardly see what it says anymore, So, at any rate, so I've included that, along with this other sheet that they included when that's what she sent to me, that this supposedly was the amount of the loans that I took out. All the different times, and honestly, it looks like several of them, they repeated them. It looks like they just repeated them. No signature on here, no initials, no nothing. Who knows when that could have been added, you know, like, these are the documents that they think that they can collect loans on, and copies of, no less, copies. These aren't even, they don't even have the originals of these. They have copies of nothing. This is finally it. There's finally a sheet of paper here that has my signature on it that says it's for a consolidation. It's got one little signature, one little date, and there's no amounts. There's no loan amounts. There's no nothing on this paper. And it's a copy. I included with them the letter that they sent me saying that they had sold the loan, my complaint with the CFPB, and I highlighted the date because the collection efforts should have absolutely been stopped at that point until there was, you know, a resolution in the matter, one way or the other, at least temporarily, even if they had been able to show proof that they were the legal owners of that loan. It should have temporarily been. So I should not have been 224 days delinquent by the time Diane Evans finally sent me the letter that said, no, we don't have the original instrument. But they very boldly put it in there. All that information in the letter, like they don't even know the laws themselves. I swear to God. Okay. So, to whom it may concern at the IRS, this is what I wrote. You have to put for the tax year. You have to make sure you put your name, your address, your phone number, your contact information, your email, all that stuff. Put for the tax year that you're applying for this resolution for. Now, if you go to irs.gov and look under the appeals, it gives you the instructions on what to do right there, okay? Follow along pretty nicely, except for the legal stuff, the documenting of the case law itself. It might vary from state to state depending on what state you're in, and I can't make a recommendation to you as to which case law to refer to, or tell you that even that if it's going to work. But what I can tell you is this is the research that I've done, and that if you do your own, then at least they know that you are a force to be reckoned with. They know you ain't nobody's dum-dum, okay? And that if they're going to come after you, they better come correct. They better come with their T's crossed and their I's dotted, because you ain't playing around, okay? This is what a letter like that sounds like. My name is Elizabeth Combs. I'm writing this statement of protest and appeal because, much to my surprise and dismay, a lending institution was apparently able to have you seize my income tax return for 2018 without so much as a signature from a judge or judgment, nor apparently even any proof that they were the legal holders of the debt. In other words, I already know that there's no original instrument, so they didn't show the IRS anything that would legally hold them accountable as the original, as the ones that would be able to garnish my wages, okay? I know that they didn't because it's not out there. I know that they didn't because I've already gone through the process of asking for it, and they've told me they don't have it, okay? And then I refer to National Collegiate Student Loan, trial number 03-1 versus Beverly-Ohio 4346. Also National Collegiate Student Loan, trial 06-2 versus Ramirez, 2017 Texas Appeals, Lewis 2030. Also seeing articles Curtis Bartlett, Plaintiff Appellate, John A. Heibel, and John A. Heibel, Attorney at Law, Defendants Appellees, United States Courts of Appeals, 7th Circuit, and Wilson v. Quadramed Corp. 225F, 3D, 350, Court of Appeals, 3rd Circuit, 2000. Okay? So that sounds like a bunch of hooey. But it's actually court articles and case law, okay? So there. Now they have case law to go on right there. I'm letting them know there's case law that supports what I'm requesting. Schafes, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Schafes et al. Versus Heitner, And then I referred to a couple articles as well. Articles 83 NEB, L.Rev 762, 04 and 05, and 66 AM UL Rev 479, 2017. Okay. Please see the attached paperwork where I have enclosed documented evidence that not only have I made several attempts to verify the validity of this debt through both direct contact of said lender, as well as complaints to the CFPB, as well as even a demand letter through my own attorney, but I have received in writing through the Assistant Vice President of SunTrust Bank a statement disclosing that they in fact do not have this required original instrument. As such, any and all attempts to collect this debt should have stopped immediately and in fact should have been stopped a long time ago. However, with complete disregard of the law and protection of my rights, these various third-party creditors have continuously sold, quote unquote, sold the debt to each other without this document making those transactions illegal. And they even continued their collection efforts while I made attempts to verify this debt with them, completely disregarding my rights again. And then I refer to the case law, and this is where your work's going to have to come in a little bit, okay? Like I can kind of give you kind of the basis of the letter or kind of the outline, but you might have to do a little research of your own. You might have to, go to your own attorney and ask your attorney, listen, or legal aid or whoever you might have to use. You might need to ask them, hey, I need case laws to back my stance that I'm requesting whatever it is, for whyever it is that you're requesting that your money be refunded, okay? What they really want is for you to say, please don't take my income tax return, I'll work out a payment plan. That's what they really want. And there's an option for you to do that as well, where you can, write them a letter saying, hey, I just wish to go ahead and set up a repayment plan. Then they'll give you your tax return, but they're going to deduct the payment and they're going to expect that payment plan to be honored, okay? So, but, if you don't feel that you owe it, don't do something in desperation of getting a tax return that is going to screw you in the long run, okay? Even if it's $2,000 or $3,000, $2,000 or $3,000 is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. Even if you had gotten the money, it'd be here today and gone tomorrow, okay? So, don't bury yourself deeper out of desperation. Continuing on, in any and all responses from both SunTrust Bank and FIA, they keep making reference to a debt consolidation from 2007, wherein they still have only a copy of this, no actual original, and the copy has no dollar amount on it. They keep attaching the copy to pages with an amount that have neither been initialed nor signed by me, and so have failed to maintain the appropriate records to even claim this debt is valid. They also may refer to a defaulted loan rehab agreement that they also do not have the master to, but even if they did, still have not maintained the appropriate records to prove that they are indeed the legal owners of this loan. I did express an interest several times to repay any debts I may have with them, as long as they could give me a detailed statement as to how much I owe and allow me to inspect the original instrument of indebtedness. Several times they would send me loan amounts on a sheet of paper, neither reflecting any of my Pell Grants or scholarships, and neither without any of my signatures nor even initials. At last response from Diane Evans, Assistant President, SunTrust Bank, my attorney did tell me that, by law, they would have to have the original instrument of indebtedness to file suit against me for this loan. Yet, they still turned around after acknowledging they didn't have the legal document and gave this loan back to FIA to attempt to collect on. Upon speaking with Eugene, quote unquote, hey Eugene, a representative from FIA on March 15th, 2019, I was told that FIA doesn't have to have an original and that all they needed was an electronic copy of a rehabilitation signature to collect this debt. I think what he was referring is there have been some exceptions made for those of us who have applied for loans online, and we have e-file for the loan, so then there wouldn't be necessarily a handwritten signed original. They still need to keep an original anyway, even of an electronic copy. There has to be some sort of an encryption of, something stating that you signed that. But these loans that I did over 20 years ago, I wasn't doing anything online, okay? So that does not pertain to me. At any rate, I said, thank goodness that's not true. Even if an attempt on my part to rehabilitate a debt was made, I have never denied that if they could show that they are legally protected to collect and indeed own this debt, that I would love to set up a repayment plan with them. But instead of stopping the collection while we attempted to come to an agreement upon the inspection of the original instrument, they continued to bill me for this debt at an accruing interest rate. And even when I finally got the admission from Diane Evans on March 21st, 2018, they had let it go into default again, never acknowledging my rights as a debtor to make sure my so-called lenders had the required documentation. In other words, continuing to entrap me by letting the debt continue into default while ignoring my rights and requests for legal documentation. I now request that my federal income tax return in the amount of $2,891 be returned to me immediately, and that any future requests from FIA to seize my income tax return be stopped, as I believe that the IRS, in fact, has not properly, and this is important, as I believe that the IRS, in fact, has not properly applied the law due to a misunderstanding of the facts, and or the IRS has now made an incorrect decision based on a misinterpretation of the statement of the facts, as I am protected under Section 309, again, citing case law, NC Gen Stat 25-3, okay? Then I cite a couple more case laws there while I'm at it, okay? And this is for North Carolina specifically, so again, don't just jot these down, these case laws that I'm referring, and you think you're going to spit those out and be good. You need to do a little bit of research about which case laws pertain to you specifically. I went with these North Carolina case laws because honestly, I had trouble finding anything under the Supreme Court or under the federal guidelines, although there is something, but because they would have to sue you in your state to come after the money, your state's statutes and your state's case laws are going to cover you for your situation, regardless of what state you took the loan out in or where you went to school at, okay? Furthermore, please let it be known that I had no prior knowledge of a government offset program. Now, this is probably not all necessary, but I threw it in there anyway, okay? Even though FIA says they sent a letter out warning me, they also admit they sent it to a Florida address, in which they knew was the wrong address, as I had updated my address with SunTrust Bank in 2018, and they also have a valid email. And again, I enclosed the letter from 2018, okay, which clearly shows a South Carolina address, okay? It was a P.O. box, but it still shows a different, separate, updated address. So SunTrust, they knew of a new address at that time, but they still sent out this thing warning me of this offset thing to a Florida address, okay? And they also had my email as well, and they were emailing me asking me for money, but I never got one email regarding this offset thing. Let it also be stated here that in my efforts to take care of the situation many times, if they had notified me of the seizure of funds, and had been able to show legal ownership of the debt, that I would have had an opportunity to respond that I am in a government program which is working under government approved funds to fight homelessness. Did you catch that? It is a requirement of the program that I'm in that I save half of my income tax refund to put towards my stable housing. I also get a certain amount per month in government food assistance program every month. So even if they had maintained competent records, what sense does it make that the government, through various programs, is subsidizing me as a single mother to keep my daughter and I fed and housed, and yet you're going to turn around and give my tax return, which is also mostly EIC, by the way, which is government monies, and you're going to turn around and give that money to a third-party private sector debt collector? Are you kidding me? Why aren't you telling these people to take a hike, bro? For many reasons. See why I included that? Okay, so this is the one opportunity I have all year to get ahead, blah, blah, blah. But again, FIA is trying to come in and take this money without me having an opportunity to stand up for my rights. And unfortunately, through the simple use of the terminology offset program, are being permitted to seize money without going through any of the normal legal steps anyone else in our precious country would have to go through, i.e., a judgment signed by a judge. I am also in the process of having this debt removed from all 3 reporting agencies, but was unable to get that completed before filing my taxes, as in order to request this action, I had to be able to show not only my driver's license, but also a copy of a current utilities bill, which for several months I was staying in a shelter and was not able to do until now. Yet another way the third-party creditors continue to bully people in this country. That if you have credit issues, you probably can't get a utility in your name, which means you again are stuck in a catch-22. Please, I urge you today to hold these third-party creditors accountable, that they should have to uphold the laws of our land as anybody else is required. I look forward to your swift and appropriate action in response to my above referenced statement of appeal. And again, this is very important. And under the penalties of perjury, I declare that the facts stated in this protest and any and all accompanying documents are true, correct, and complete to the best of my knowledge and belief. Thank you, Elizabeth Combs. Social and all that good fun stuff, okay? So, that's it. That's the letter. Okay, that's going out. Here's another thing. They don't make it, so the IRS doesn't want to hear, they don't want to deal with this, okay? This is a reason why you especially need to get these letters started, because they don't want to deal with it. Do they give you, after telling you what to do, how to file the appeal and everything, do they give you the right address? Do they give you the address to actually send that to? No, they don't. What it says on the site is that you need to send your appeal to the same exact local IRS office that you sent your tax return to. So when you went and filed, whatever office you sent that to, okay? Here's the problem. Most of us e-filed, right? Many of us e-filed. Even though I went someplace where they did my taxes, they still e-filed them. But they weren't mailed anywhere. And nobody dropped anything in an envelope and mail it in, okay? It was e-filed. So they don't give any address for if you e-file. Or they don't say on the website, oh, and if you e-filed, send it here. No. I had to call my attorney and get the right address for where I am, okay? Again, I'm not going to give you that because it's all going to boil down to where you are, okay? So I just encourage you, whatever the grounds are that you think that you have for requesting a refund of your money, one of them being that, you need to start this process where you're holding them accountable. They are doing such a shoddy, you would think it would be so simple, right? That they just have this one document that every time they sell the debt, they would know, we need this document to go after the loan, so we need to make sure. But no, like they do such shoddy jobs at keeping up with paperwork, and it's just because they think that they have everybody so scared and so in their pocket that they don't need to, that people are just going to pay them, and they're going to pay them because they told them to, and they're going to pay them because all they have to do is go to the IRS and say, hey, we want that such and such money, and the IRS is just going to give it, okay? And it's kind of true, but it's only true because we're allowing it, when we're allowing it, okay? So, putting that out there. Get your letters out. Find your case law. Go to Google Scholar. Find your case law. You might have to spend, 45 minutes to 3 hours looking for a case law to support your argument. But, how bad do you want it? This is your life. And you can't claim, you can't stake your claim and be watching movies all day, or be playing video games all day, or be talking to so-and-so and such on the phone and involved in, your girlfriend-boyfriend drama and all that kind of stuff, Step into your greatness. Make your own self proud by sitting down for an hour or two and finding a case law that supports your argument and writing a letter like that and getting it in the mail and getting yourself heard and making them go, hey, I don't know who this girl is, but she done did her homework. Yeah, she's a force to be reckoned with. This ain't gonna be no lay down. Hey guys, do we got our shit together on this one? Do we have any proof? Are we gonna be able to do this? Every little battle you win, it's just, and it adds to your self-esteem, right? It adds to your self-esteem, and it makes you all the more ready for the next confrontation. No, it doesn't steal your joy. You write the letter, but you don't let it steal your joy. And don't be attached to the outcome. Listen, I'm sending this letter in the mail. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I can't be attached to the outcome. Okay? I can't decide that if I don't get that money that I'm going to be pissed, or that I have to have the money, or anything. I have to know that regardless of what happens, what comes from this, that I'm going to be okay, and that's always going to be for my highest good and somebody else's highest good. A lot of people's highest good is probably going to come from this, okay? Because the more of us that come together on this situation, we can lobby for a change. All right. This has been a long video. I'm going to edit it down some. But I love y'all, and I'm tired today. Tired, losing my voice. It was a long video. But I love y'all. Namaste.